Okay, back again. So you've just watched part one and we've reviewed this entire paragraph, and now I'm just kind of breaking it up piece by piece. Also, just realized that my kid's super scary tunnel is in the back, so sorry about that. All right, I'm trying to remember where I left off. All right, so if I were to go through and if I were to label each of these parts with that ICE acronym, that I, introduce, C, cite, E, explain, I could really easily do that, right? Here is my introduction. Here is my transition. And I struggle with putting I transition here because I doesn't stand for transition, right? It's introduce. But what do you do in the beginning of a paragraph? You introduce the main ideas of this paragraph. How do you do that? By way of transition, so that it's all fitting together. Okay, so here's my transition. I'm actually going to keep, even though you see a citation here, I'm actually going to keep it as part of the I because it's necessary in setting the scene. It's not necessarily moving anything forward. Here, however, when Romeo enters, that's when my citation begins because I'm focusing on what it is that he's saying, and that's what I'm going to analyze. And then finally, the E begins here. Explain. Okay. I need you to see words like, if you're struggling with analysis, I want to see words like suggest or illustrates or proves. Those are really good ways of making sure you're analyzing. So I think I had one here. Here we go. It suggests. Right? That's a really good word to prove that I'm analyzing. And then what I've done is I've made a suggestion about him as an individual, and then I've made it bigger and more universal. And that's really the power of analysis. One, how does it apply to just this specific text? But more importantly, how is this universal and how does this apply to the world, right? And we could certainly see that about passion. When we act passionately, think about times you're really mad and you act out of anger, right? You're probably not making the best decisions, right? But you're acting out of passion. You feel very passionately that you've been wronged in some way and that you need to make it right for yourself. Is it the best way to react? Probably not, all right? And that's kind of what we're suggesting here, is that that's universal, and we see that in Romeo. Is it in his best interest to move forward with this love to Juliet? No. Might it be later, had he spent more time with her and considered the pros and cons and made a well-rounded plan? Maybe, but he hasn't done any of that. All right, so what we've done here is analyzed it. Sorry, I need to go ahead and make a new comment. Analyzed evidence specific to Romeo. Oops, it wants me to tag somebody. There we go. And then here, I've made that universal connection. A universal connection. All right. All right, so hopefully if you've been following these videos and you're working as I'm suggesting that you're working, today you'll have a really good blog post at the end of today that you'll be prepared to put on Kids Blog. Tomorrow, I'm going to check in with you and we're going to talk about comments. All right, so any questions between now and then, my hours are officially 7 to 3, so I'll be checking in all day and we'll go from there. All right, I hope to see y'all soon.